Let's go ahead and get started, guys. This is Coach Jenn here and excited to be teaching today how to build a team. This is so important and crucial to your success in business. We're definitely going to move quickly through information today. I'm going to leave time at the end for Q&A and absolutely want you to be getting into the chat, asking questions. It's important that the information we go through today isn't something that you hear, but it's something that you hear and you understand. Communicating is really important, and I want to communicate clearly, but I want to be sure you have understanding. Because when you have understanding, you can take action. And this is definitely something that we want you to be actioning in your business ASAP. All right. So I wanted to share a couple quotes to start off today's session, and you'll see many ideas grow better when transplanted into another mind than the one where they sprang up. And I think that this is so important as CEOs and entrepreneurs. You know, you've got a vision, you've got an idea, you have a solution for other people's problems, and that's important. But the recognition and understanding that it can grow bigger and better oftentimes when it's outside of your brain, in the mind of somebody else's, and you're really empowering them to grow it, you can see more happen. So I'm kind of framing what's going to happen today and what I want you to think about when it comes to your team. The next quote I love from Michael Jordan: talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships. It's so important that as you get into the day-to-day of your business, we often realize you're talented and skilled enough to win the game on your own, just like an MVP. But the reality is, if you want to really go somewhere in business, you really want to win a championship and do something amazing, you've got to have a team behind you, alongside you, that's helping you win. And I don't care what point of business that you're at. You may have just started yesterday. You may have been in business already for 3-5 years. This is a topic that must become like right here at the top of mind, at the front of your brain, that you are constantly thinking about and working towards, even at the inception of your business. So today we're going to talk about the who, what, where, when, and how of building a team. All right. It's a lot to cover, but I want you thinking, I want you writing, and I definitely want you engaging. I've got the chat up, and I'm going to help answer questions as we go along, stop and clarify, and we'll also have time at the end. But who should be a part of your success team? What does an A player look like? Where do you find your leaders? When is the right time to build and grow your team? And the how do you get them to follow your lead? Woo, this is gonna be good. Are you guys excited? Give me some love in the chat and let me know. Let's dive right in. So the who is really important. You have got to begin this journey of looking at leadership by assessing yourself, understanding what your leadership style is, understanding where your skill set is, where you need help, and where the support should be a fit for who you are. This takes some real raw self-assessment. And it's important because your ability to assess yourself honestly and then find someone or some people who can complement who you are is critical to how successful your business can be. I'm a huge follower of John Maxwell. John Maxwell is who I am certified through as a coach and trainer, and he's an amazing leadership teacher. And one of the first lessons he talks about is your capacity, your leadership level is where your business and your personal development, your life will cap out. So if you want to go further than you are now, you've got to begin to expand your leadership capacity. So again, whether it's day 1 of your business or if it's day 5,000 of your business, growing yourself as a leader, understanding your personal skill set is really crucial to help defining the trajectory of where your business has the ability to go. The second component of this, though, is assessing your business. So assessing yourself and assessing your business. And I know you're like, what? The who? What does this mean? Well, the reality is the who you're going to add to your team is wholly defined by what the needs are in your business, what you're coming up against. And so I wanted to teach you about a SWOT analysis, SWOT, SWOT analysis. And you'll see the graphic here. I'm hoping that's real clear for you all. But this is something that you should be completing for your business on a regular basis. So at least quarterly, defining the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats when it comes to your business. So this graphic is paramount. I want you to screenshot it so that you've got a copy of it to go back later, because this is going to be an important part of what your homework is all about today. So the strengths and the weaknesses have to do with the internal components of your business. So the things that your company does well, the qualities that separate you from competitors, right? The weaknesses, you'll see there, the things that your company lacks, the things that your competitors do better than you. These are all internal factors. The O and the T cover external factors. So things that are happening to your business, right? To your business. So opportunities, underserved markets for specific products, right? Few competitors in your area, an emerging need for your products or your services, right? All of this is so important, but that's all external to your business, but does help bring opportunity to your business. Now the threats, emerging competitors, changing regulatory environment, negative press or media coverage, these are all external that happen to your business and can be a threat to you being able to produce. How does the SWOT fit, right? How does the SWOT fit? So as you're conducting this SWOT analysis, which is going to be your homework today, a part of your homework today, you're going to be able to find where your weaknesses are internally, where your areas of opportunity are externally. I should say, start with your strengths internally, your weaknesses internally, your opportunities externally, and your threats externally. When you can clearly define these things, and it should be simple and short, this isn't a drawn out thing, but you will gain a picture of what's really happening in your business right now and where you need to go, that helps you see the who that you need to partner with to be successful. The who. This is it. This is literally like the formula that's going to help you be able to understand who needs to come alongside you in this business to be of impact and to be of success. So once you have your SWOT completed, I want you to begin to picture the perfect team. Now, your team is going to range from people who could be an administrative assistant or even in product fulfillment, all the way to somebody who's going to help with operations or finances, right? A real range of skill sets, a real range of expertise. What I'm teaching today is the core foundation of helping identify and acquire those people for your business, okay? So when I say picture the perfect team, I don't want you to think about what you don't have in terms of resources, in terms of connections. I want you to simply picture what you want and what you need for your business to be successful. That's it. Please just listen to that. I am a believer that if you can define what it is you need and who it is you need, and you begin to meditate on that, that you will be able to manifest the help, the team, the expertise, the people, and the provision required to see that happen. So I implore you to just go with me. Picture the perfect team. I want you right now to just start to write. Write. What does that team look like? Do you see an all-woman team? Do you see women and men? Do you see diversity? Do you see varying experience? Maybe somebody who's highly skilled in operations and manufacturing. Maybe somebody who is very skilled in technology or in social media. What kind of expertise specifically do you need on your team right now? Just start to write it out. Take some time right now. I want you to write it down. And in fact, as you're writing, will you just put it in the chat real quick? I'd love to see what your perfect team looks like. Are these people full-time? Are they part-time? Or are they freelance, right? Are they part-time? Are they full-time? Are they freelance? Checking out the chat. Marketing, social media. That's great, Tatiana. Anybody else? You know, your team can look and be very different. It doesn't mean you're going to have a whole full-time staff. It may mean that some of these people are volunteer because they believe in your cause and they support what your company is doing, your business or your nonprofit, right? Be very open right now. Picture the perfect team. And I want you to start to write that down. I want you to write down what you think it is based on your SWOT. I want you to write down what you think or believe, like that gut feeling of what's the most important role that you're missing or the component that's going to help put you to that next level. I want you to begin to write that down and I want you to meditate on it. This is one of those things that changes, you know, as a part of our organization. We've gone through quite a few team members and what we thought we wanted. And then once we got it, realized, nope, that's really not it. What we really need is XYZ, right? We thought we needed somebody for marketing, then we realized, nope, that wasn't successful. We're not going to invest in that when what we really need is here and we're going to invest here. So this is an ongoing process. That's why I say the SWOT should be something that you do on a regular basis, you know, but it's got to be something that you're really thinking about it and really putting time in. Colleen says, young, hungry men and women looking to change lives, ages 25 to 35, game changers. I love it. Absolutely. That is super important to get that picture, really get clear, really get specific, right? What is it? My mom used to always say, you have not because you ask not, you know, just like the genie in the lamp, right? I always think of that, you know, it's definitely an old parable turned into a movie, but, you know, really being specific about what it is that you're wishing for. And the more specific you are, the more you meditate on that, you will find absolutely that you have the ability to bring that about in your life and in your business. So enough about the SWOT here, the who. This is how you're going to define who the who is, right? That's a tongue twister. So the what, I wanted to talk to you about an A player. What's an A player? An A player on your team has certain characteristics regardless of the role. And I think that this is important because sometimes as we start as CEOs, we are in such need of help. We are willing to take it from anywhere. And can I tell you, we tried, we've tested, and it ain't true. That sometimes you are better off on your own. until you've got the right person. And I want you to understand that whether that person, again, is somebody who is doing product fulfillment, shipping, to making financial decisions for your business, these are 4 characteristics that I want you to really be looking out for as you define your who. What do they have that is going to make the difference in your business? Because if they don't have this, I don't care if they've got a really good skill set, character will kill the situation. If they're enthusiastic about what it is that they're doing, I think that that's great. But if you find that they really don't know what they're doing, that's not going to help either. Okay? So you really want to be looking at the opportunity for all 4 of these characteristics to be embodied by the person that you're looking to bring on. And this does mean that it'll take time, and that's okay. It's absolutely worth the wait to bring on 1 A player than it is to bring on 5 that are a mess and literally could bring down your entire business. So let's look at the characteristics. Excellent character. Character is key. Character is what causes people to do what they said they would do when they said they would do it. It is when they make a mistake that they can own up to it and then they can course correct. Character is one of the most important things, and it can be difficult to vet character, but not impossible. And receipts, which we're going to talk about in a moment, but references are really important, right? And that's why I love the opportunity to look for people that I may not know them, but I know somebody who knows them. Their reputation will precede them. And if you have the ability to inquire and find someone through your network, it helps in vetting character. 2, enthusiastic about the mission. You know, there is something about the new level of worker that we have in America these days, right? I don't get too much into the whole Gen Xers, Zs, or millennials, but what I will say is, as somebody who's in their 40s now, my parents were workers, right? And they would work for the sake of working. It is my age and younger that people aren't just looking to work, they're really looking to be inspired and to have a cause as a part of their work. So it's important that as you are looking for team members, to find someone that has a bit of enthusiasm about the mission of your business. Now, I know it may not be super exciting to sell whatever your product may be. Let's just say it's bedding, it's home decor, right? But there's somebody out there who's got some enthusiasm for creating amazing spaces, for helping people enjoy their homes more, right? And it's important that as you're looking for an A player, regardless of role, that they have a bit of enthusiasm about what it is that you do. They are never going to be up late at night, charged up and excited as much as you are as a visionary. So let me just settle that for you. You're not going to find somebody who's going to match your excitement and enthusiasm for your business, but they should be able to get on board, and they should be able to, within the framework of their requirements to work, have some energy around that. So look for that. Experienced in the area of need. You are not in a position, my friend, to train someone from the bottom up. You have got to look for somebody that has the experience that you need to be able to do well in this business, to do well in the area that you need them to do well in, okay? You have got to look for somebody who has experience, okay? That's really, really important. So let me just share with you all having receipts. This is kind of like a saying nowadays, right? Like having receipts. And what having receipts means, you can prove what it is that you have done or you have accomplished, right? That's really important. You can prove. And so you've got to find somebody that's got a verifiable record of success, and that they're able to show that to you in somehow. That could just be references. That could be proof on social media of the work that they've completed. It could be even a book. I'll tell you, when I first started out in sales, back in the day, they used to say you should have a success booklet. I literally had a binder that had printout of emails and performance emails every time my employer would say, you know, here's the top 10 sellers, or here's congratulations to Jennifer Enders for booking this month's, you know, XYZ volume or whatever it was in that job. And I literally used to keep it in a book, because that was my receipts. That's what I would take with me over to somebody to be able to show that I could do what I said I could do. We have got to get to a point that you require somebody to show you receipts. And if they can't show you receipts, you just can't spend time on it. You may like them. Their character may be impeccable. They may have enthusiasm for what it is that you do. But if they cannot prove to you that they have the capacity and ability to do it, you got to move on. All right. I think I've said enough about the what. All right. The where. I love the where. People are like, how, who, where, when. The world is at your fingertips. You see this globe? The amazing part about what has happened in our society and what is happening in the world now due to the transition of COVID in 2020, virtually business is happening in a very successful way for many people. This means you now have the capacity and the ability to find people virtually to join your team, support your business and your cause in a way that you never had before. So as you are thinking about that perfect team, when we first started out, I want you guys to begin to expand where these people could be coming from. But I want to start at the top left of this page here, in your circle. Now, I want to preface this with saying, your circle does not necessarily mean your family, and it probably shouldn't in most cases. Your circle does not mean people that you grew up with. Now that may work, but most cases, probably not. What I mean is that they are somehow connected to you within 3 to 4 degrees, meaning you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. That's 3 degrees. LinkedIn shows you it perfectly, right? If you've gone to LinkedIn, you see the connections. And in fact, LinkedIn is an amazing place to look. People who know people who know people, right? Virtually, you have the ability to find assistants. And that's what I'm saying here in the bottom left. I'm not just saying a virtual assistant like an administrator, but I'm saying virtual assistants with graphics and marketing. I know, Tatiana, you mentioned that. Virtually, someone who can work on your website, who can help with product fulfillment, somebody who can help with the finances in your business. These people all, in many cases, have the ability to work virtually, and you immediately expand your area of opportunity to work with people when you go virtual. So the where. I want you to think about even utilizing a headhunter. A headhunter is an old school term for a recruiter, right? And we're going to talk about recruiting in a little bit when we get to the how. But there are people positioned who, in many cases, you may not even have to pay a lot of money to help you find someone. And especially when it comes to a higher level of leadership or a higher valued position in your organization, this is really important. So you want to look for a recruiting firm, a staffing firm, someone who can help you vet and bring someone on. This may be of cost, and many times it's of small cost, but this is something that you ought to consider, because it can absolutely be the make or break decision for your business when it comes to bringing on high level leadership. And then even a local college or university. There are oftentimes nowadays young men and women who are driven, who are passionate, and they're looking for opportunity. They may already even have some experience in the area that you need them in, but it can be hard to wade through applications. It can be hard to wade through job postings, but oftentimes working with a local college or university, their like graduate centers, their career centers will actually know the kids, and they'll say, I think, you know, Jane is a great fit for you. I think that, you know, Joanna is a great fit for you. And they'll be able to help match because they're seeing students come in. They're seeing people come in and get their resumes looked at. And then you'll also maybe even be able to find people to do internships at low cost as well. So these are areas, the where, that we've talked about. I want you to open your mind, and I want you, as you're looking at your perfect team, to begin to think about these areas and these resources to help you find the help. Okay? We're going to look at the when and the how, and then we're going to close up because I want to leave lots of time for Q&A. I want to be sure we're talking about your specific situations. But do you see this lady here? Laid out. I know we have all been there in business when you feel like you have gotten to the end of your rope, you are frustrated, you are tired, you are exhausted. These are all symptoms of a greater issue. And the when is when you know you have got to bring aboard help. 3 key areas I brought this into. When balance is required, it's out of balance. Your business, your life, you've got to begin to look to build a team. When your quality of work begins to slip, meaning you're sending out orders and you're making mistakes, the product is not at the quality level that it needs to be, you've got to start to look for help. And then 3, you can't afford not to hire. You know, we call it the opportunity cost, meaning not deciding to bring aboard help is actually costing you money because you're missing out on business. You're not fulfilling orders in the right way and you're losing customers. There literally can be a cost to not getting help. And let me share a quick testimony. When I got 4 children, and when number 3 came along, I was full-time entrepreneurship, had left corporate America, was working on my own, had a thriving business in direct sales, was making 6 figures in that business. And while I was pregnant, kept things going, did a great job. When I had the baby, I went through depression, postpartum depression, really struggled in my recovery, and my business virtually came to a halt. I did not have a team alongside me. I did not have the kind of support that I needed, somebody holding my ladder. And at that point, I literally couldn't afford, in my mind, to bring on the assistance that I needed. And I mean assistance from even somebody on my team is somebody who gets to come in, who I have come in and get them to help clean my home, right? That is a huge part. That's a non-negotiable for me nowadays. Back then it was, and I didn't pay for that, right? An administrator. I could have probably found somebody very easy part-time to help administrate, and that would have been a huge help, but I didn't make those decisions. What ended up happening over my journey of getting myself healthy postpartum, now having 3 children at home and trying to run a business, I literally ran that business into the ground, you guys. I ran the business into the ground. And within 6 months, what I had built over the last 2 years unbelievably fell apart to the point that I was barely making enough money every single month to like stay home. I ended up going back to corporate America. And lesson learned, if I would have had wise counsel, better mentorship, somebody to go to and talk to, I know they would have told me you can't afford not to hire. And so I'm sharing that testimony because I want you to understand that you may be in a place where you think you can't afford to hire someone, but you must find a way to bring on board a team. Your business depends on it. And I want to make sure that you are absolutely in a position to be able to do that coming out of this course. So you've got to think differently about it. You've got to find a way to begin to bring people on board who are going to help you find balance, keep the quality of work where it needs to be, and sustain the foundation of your business so that you can grow in a successful way. So let's round out with hows. I've got 2 hows: how to find them and how to lead them. So how to find them. I have done extensive study on this as we've grown even our own organization. And I want you to understand that as a small business, even a mid-sized business, you don't need a team of 20 people. When one of the surveys I read, I think it was even in Forbes, talked about major businesses have literally a CEO has 5 key leaders around them. For you, I'm going to say 2, and we're going to talk about that as we come out. But as they talked about the leaders that they brought to their business, the way that they found key leaders who came and stayed and were successful, they actually recruited them. So I want you to begin to think about this in a different way. Recruitment strategy. I want you to get references. As you build your perfect list, you do your SWOT analysis and you find your perfect team, that list of people you need, begin to ask, do you know somebody? Ask your friends and family who is great at this, who is looking for a new opportunity, who would love to be able to work from home. I want you to post what your needs are online, whether you're sharing it on LinkedIn or on social media. I want you to engage where they are. So when you've picked a perfect person and they're, as Colleen mentioned in here, their ages 20 to 35, they're fired up, where, excited about health, where are you going to find those people? I don't know. I'd probably look at a local gym, right, Colleen? Find where they are, be in their midst, look to engage and recruit. All right. I want you to become desirable. As an organization, you have a mission and a vision, right? You're creating culture. We've talked and taught about that before, but you want to position yourself to be desirable, that people will want to come on board with what it is you're doing. And when you're able to share what it is your company does, who you're impacting, what's your strategy for growth, man, the right person, that A player, is going to hear that, and there's going to be enthusiasm around that for them. And that is valuable. Your ability as a leader to articulate that is going to help. It's also going to help you cast vision, right? So you're sharing what's happening now and what's going to happen in the future, and that's going to bring them on board. And that's what's going to help you lead them. And that's where we're going to finish out today. When you look to lead a team, you have got to begin, even now at the inception of your business, is to go from managing processes and projects, which is really management, that's not leading, right? To go from processes and projects to people. And that's what this class is all about. It's getting your mind to begin to think not just about the processes and the projects, but the people that are going to be required. It's going to take you an additional level of leadership. So I implore you, if you've not gone into InfoBar and looked up our leadership courses, begin to take those. Grab a book. I mentioned John Maxwell. There's tons of other writers out there who are great teachers on leadership, but you've got to begin now to prepare yourself for the people who are coming. But I've listed 6 things here that are crucial that I want you to keep top of mind as you begin to prepare and walk out building your team. Communication. Communication is so important, and it's not just how you communicate and how often you communicate, but as I mentioned at the top of the class, it's communicating for clarity. It's communicating for understanding, because there's a very different thing when you are talking and communicating and sending objectives and task lists and what needs to happen. But if your team isn't understanding, then they're not able to action what needs to happen. So I want you to begin to think on a regular basis as you are communicating with people to ask, to validate understanding, to have them repeat back to you what needs to happen so that you can be sure that clear communication is going forth and success is happening in areas of your business. People want to be led by a clear communicator. People also want to be led by somebody who's passionate. And I know you ladies are passionate about your business, but I don't want you to forget how important it is and how often you need to be sharing that passion with others. Sometimes you get in your head and you're excited about a project or an initiative or what's going to happen next, and you're not communicating that to the people around you. And that is important because that is literally the lifeblood for what helps them see that what they're doing is valued and that it's making a difference. So be passionate and communicate that passion. Be empathetic. Be empathetic. We have to remember that for you as a business owner, especially as a solopreneur, which so many of you are on your own, this is your life. You live, breathe, eat, and sleep this business. Remember, I stated at the top of the call, that's not going to be the case for most of your team. It's just not. They're not going to have that level of drive and passion about this business because it essentially is your baby, right? But they're coming alongside to help nurture it, grow it, take care of it. But there's always going to be a little bit of a gap there. So you've got to be empathetic to that and also understanding to what it is that's happening in their world, in their life. You know, these people are people. They've got problems and, family and agendas and other things in their life. And they bring a portion of who they are to you. And that's a blessing. And so you want to really honor that by being empathetic to what their needs are as a person as well. That also follows with listening. Listening was one of the top things listed by employees or team members about their leader, that they have a leader that listens. And one of the stats that I read that, people went back and they said that only 66% of people believed that their leader was a good listener. 66%. That's a pretty big gap there. We don't want that to be you. When you're talking to your team, when you're looking to grow your team, when you're engaging people to recruit them and bring them on board, block everything out. Be attentive and listening to what they're saying. That really will go a long way in bringing them on your team and actually keeping them on your team as well. Autonomy. Autonomy was one of the last. And this is autonomy to pushing out initiatives and tasks to your team and seeing them bring about that success in their own way. It may not be exactly the way that you would do it, but you've got to allow, when you've brought on a team member and you're trusting in them to do what they should do to finish the task, the project, or the initiative, that you will give them the autonomy to do that. And at the same time, if they've got a certain way of doing it, that you're willing to listen and maybe even change your views on how something should be done, right? That autonomy is big. And last but certainly not least, integrity. Integrity is so important. Just as you are looking for that in the people that you bring on, you want to be sure you are extending that and showing that to the team that you lead. These are really core, important things that you want to be conveying as you move yourself from being a manager of your business, being someone who's looking at projects and process all the time, to really looking at developing and growing people. All right. So, ladies, let's get started. I hope that you're excited and empowered by the message today, by the class today. And there's 3 things that I want you to do immediately to activate the information that you've learned. Knowledge alone by itself is nothing if it's not acted out in our lives. So I want you this week to conduct your SWOT analysis. I hope that you screenshot that, but that's okay. This document is going to be available to you guys. I'll make sure that I get it back, the screenshot, into our Facebook group so our members can see it. I want you to go back and do your own SWOT analysis. It doesn't have to be extensive, just a few sentences in all 4 areas, all right? And use that to define who are your 2. Remember I said that large organizations, CEOs said there was about 5 leaders that were the game changers, the team members that made the ship sail, right? I'm looking for you to find your first two. Now you've already written out what you think your perfect team is, but who are those two people? I want you to describe and define them very specifically. Literally down to the T, even their age is an excellent thing to think about. How diverse is their background, their experience, their skill set, right? And then I want you to build a strategy, that recruitment strategy. How are you going to find those people and begin to walk that out? I want in that strategy it to be specific and it to be time bound. Remember, you do not want to wait until you've gotten to those wins. Remember where we said you're out of balance, your quality in your product or your service is waning. Don't wait for that to bring somebody on. Learn from the story I shared about myself and be prepared for those changes in business so that you've got a team to help support you. And this is it. Conduct your SWOT this week. I want you to figure out who are your two, and then I want you to build your recruitment strategy. I want you guys to be sure that you're engaging in the Facebook group. If you need help with this, if you have questions, we're inside the group as a team, as an entire collective to help. I want to even inspire you to understand that there could be a partnership within the network here that's going to be a fulfillment of the team that you need. Oftentimes we think that it's an individual, that it's somebody who's going to come work for you. It could be a collaboration with another business owner that's going to be the game changer for you. So think outside of the box in a new way, and let's figure out who your two are. I'm going to go ahead and stop share here real quick. And I want to be sure that you guys are getting the information that I'm sharing, that if you have questions, I want to open up the lines. I want to make sure that you are able to ask questions and that we are helping you with your needs today in the last 15 minutes of this course. Any questions for us? I want you to hop in the chat. You can actually unmute yourself and turn on your camera. I would love for us to be able to do that now as we get started with Q&A.
Hey, Jennifer, it's Colleen. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Happy Monday. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I guess it's not a question. It's more of a how-to. We get on these calls every Monday and we get all jazzed up and we got all the knowledge and, we're trying to email everybody and give everybody the support. And I think I hear this all the time you say it. And I think I have that bit of intrepidation or maybe fear to post something in the group and ask for the help. So I guess the question is, how do you, I know I'm going to do my SWOT and you do all this stuff and then give it to the Facebook group and say, here I am, vulnerable and raw. I'm looking to collaborate with, other B2Bs that are looking maybe to add a product, maybe an exclusive wine that's different. Who's out there that wants to chime in with me? And then you throw it out there as a fish and you're like, oh crap, no one's biting. But we're also overwhelmed and I'm just like, what do I do?
It's great. Oh, you're so right. It is, it's just like sales. I mean, it's a numbers game, man. And it is like, you just got to throw it out there until somebody catches that ball. And that's why I say recruitment, I think, is really important because oftentimes people aren't going to, let me say this. Actually, I read a book called Who's Holding Your Ladder? And Who's Holding Your Ladder is actually a ministry book. Oh my gosh, my brain. Who's the author? Chand. C-H-A-N-D, I think is the last name. Sorry, y'all. But it's a book about ministry. And one of the things in studying churches, I'll just go back to this, is that they found some of the best ways to fill volunteer spots in a church is not to ask for volunteers. Not to ask for volunteers. It's to actually go out and to recruit people. And this is so funny because as I was reading this back in the day, I read the book once. And in fact, I even went back and started reading it again last week as I was thinking about this class, is that the people are there. They're looking to be asked. Honestly, they're looking to be asked. And if you are in a place where instead of, I'm not saying don't throw it out there and post it. I think that you need a multi-tiered strategy to find your team, right? But I think that you need to be also available to and open to saying, here's who I know is my perfect team member. How am I going to find them? Where am I going to find them? I'm going out to hunt them, to look for them, and to then share what it is that I'm doing and find out if they'd like to be a part of what I'm doing. Right? Yeah. I mean, that's one of the biggest businesses when it comes to executive leadership in corporate America, these headhunters. Thousands of dollars are paid for one corporation to send a headhunter out to go find a CEO who's already at another company and to say, I see what you're doing. We want you. How much, right? For you to come over and be a part of our team. And I want you all to know what you have is valuable. What you're doing in the marketplace is important, and it's impacting people. It's affecting change. It's improving their lives, whatever the product or the solution is. And you should be excited enough about that. And I want you to be excited enough about that to go out and find those people. And to be able to get better at sharing that in a way that you can put it out on Facebook and then say, you know what, I'm going to put it out on Facebook, but what I know I need is a salon owner. So now I'm looking for a salon owner specifically. And now I'm DMing them and I am saying, are you looking for a way to build an additional stream of income? I'm speaking specifically to Colleen's business. Are you looking for gifts for regular clients in a way to, differentiate yourself, right? You find a messaging that's going to spark something at them that's going to say, you know what, this could be mutually beneficial. I get that now. And that you will get better at that messaging time and time again. You'll get better at the method of engagement time and time again. It's just building up the muscles and the perseverance to just keep doing it until it works. We try things once or twice, then we say, oh, I don't think it's working. And I'm not saying this to you specifically. I'm saying this even to myself. You're like, nah, I don't think that works. I'm just going to stop. No, not really. Like, instead of 2 times, you needed to do it 200 times. Right? And sometimes that's a big pill to swallow, like, ugh, for real? But yeah, sometimes it takes that, Well,
and this network is so good, finding the right people who are in your court. When you talk about spending the dollars, I joined the group 2 years ago, and it's really realizing I needed the marketing. I needed someone. So staying in the game, finding the right players with you to build out the team and your market. And it's so important to realize what you need and the right group of ladies to come along with you to see you grow and thrive.
Absolutely. The faster you do that and the faster you're willing to fail, the faster you'll find success. That really is it. I mean, just be willing to go out there and do it and say, well, damn, this didn't work. Let me try something else. Let me find another group. I did that 200 times and that wasn't it. All right, lesson learned. Let's move on to the next thing. So you're on the right track. I'm definitely excited to see your SWOT and to see you post it in the group, and we'll definitely all be willing to give feedback. Right, ladies?
Okay. Thanks.
Awesome. Who else? Another question?
Jennifer, thank you for a great presentation today. Hello, ladies. I see your faces. Good afternoon. My question was, what percentage or how to budget for this type of needed, to bring somebody on, and as far as like the finances of the business, et cetera, like, especially if the business is in a place where it might not be bringing in the necessary revenue to support that. So how should one sort of like walk through that process?
Such a great question. And I wish there was just a flat percentage that I could say, like, this is it. You should budget this much for staffing. But I think that it's because everybody's business model is different. But what you can count on is what's the ROI. So the return on the investment. So for instance, I'll just give you an example for our organization. Colleen and I have some very specific skill sets that if we were to look to try to replace someone that does exactly what we do in terms of technical back end of our systems or marketing, that it would cost us a lot more to bring somebody on for that than it would to bring somebody on to handle administrative, customer service, phone calls, right? So one of the first areas we said we could invest and afford to invest or needed to was in an administrative person, so that we could stay head focused around the very specific skills and the things that we knew we needed to do to impact the business. And then I could afford to bring somebody in that area. That's why I think most oftentimes that's one of the first places people will bring in support. Because generally, dollar for dollar, you can bring somebody on an administrative capacity at a lower dollar per hour or even part-time. But the return on that investment is huge, because now we have you, Tatiana, who's the brains of your business, not spending 20 hours a week on customer service or product fulfillment, which is very rote and not a highly skilled role. You can be now using that 20 hours to do how much more for your business, you know? So, you know, you think about it in a way, all right, so if I could do literally, this is what we say, $200 a week. Let's just say that's the number, right? And I have to bring somebody in at $10 an hour to be sure that they really could handle that. So I know now in my mind, I've got back 20 hours in a week that I need to produce an ROI to be able to make this work. So with an added 20 hours a week, what am I going to do to pay their salary and more? Does that help?
Yeah, that's very, very helpful. Thank you for that. And I guess and along the lines of like the administrative, like how realistic should the expectation be, instead of like expecting the person to be all things, you know what I'm saying? Like handle social media, do customer service. Should we look for someone that's multifaceted or?
Absolutely. I think you should shoot for the stars, because there are people out there who do have that capacity. It may take a little time to figure it out. And you'll learn them as you go forward and say, you know what, I thought you could do all of this, but it looks like maybe I can focus you on this and still get what you need, right? Like be flexible in that, but I don't think that you should lower your standard. I think especially in the environment we're in, you are in a prime time right now, COVID 2020, people do not have jobs. They need to be working from home. They need to be virtual. You may find some very highly skilled people who are out of work who are like, I'll take a chance on this startup business. I'll take a chance and put 20 hours a weekend because I believe in your vision and you're telling me that here's your growth strategy and I could become full-time in the next 6 months to a year, right? Like it's important to have those real raw conversations with your potential team members so that you're helping them understand where they could fit into your organization if they can prove that they're going to be of impact.
Thank you so much. This is really good.
Oh, good. So glad that helps. Great questions, guys. Any more questions that you have? No? Good. Well, I want to give you guys a range. When you think about your team, you know, some of our first team came off of Fiverr, right? Some of my first team, as I mentioned, was somebody to support me here at home and give me the opportunity to not have to clean my house all weekend, so that I become a better CEO during the week, right? And on the weekends, I'm getting my downtime, I'm getting my balance. I want you to think about your team in an out of the box kind of way, that your support doesn't just have to be a full-time person coming on to run social media for you. It can be bits and pieces. It can be a part-time, it could be a freelancer. It may be somebody who comes in and volunteers because they love you and they're skilled in an area and they want to support your vision. It could be a faithful family member, right? So just be really open. But what I don't want you to come down off of is looking for those A characteristics. That person that's got the character, the person that's got the enthusiasm, the person that's going to do what they said they're going to do to support you, because people can come on board and become a detractor and not an impactor in your business. And that's what you want to guard, right? And as fast as you bring them on, be willing to be as fast in firing them. And that's okay, because it just wasn't a fit. right? And we find ways to build that out. I definitely think that this session is probably going to go into a part 2. I'm going to bring it back because there's so many more ways that I'd like to deep dive and go further, and I'd love your feedback on that. So as we post this video in our group, if there's something more you want to learn about in the areas of building your team as I go to bring out part 2 in the next month or so, I'd love to get back your feedback so that we can cater it to what your needs are as well too. Awesome. All right. Well, I pray everyone is well and that today's lesson was well received. Again, I'm looking for your homework. Don't forget, I love to see you post it in the group, share what you've done, ask for feedback, and continue to encourage each other. You guys, this is an amazing season that we're in. Unbelievable things happening in the world, but I do believe that you are in a position to be able to be of impact in your community and to be of impact with your business in a way that you've never been before. So absolutely be strategic, be thoughtful. Let's mobilize and collaborate together in a way that we can absolutely win and dominate.